Well, hey there everybody, how y'all doing? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day or night, and welcome back to my channel as always. I'm Deluxe. Alright, let's do another freaking Transformer review because I love some freaking Transformers. Today we'll be taking a look at, this is Cang-Toys, and this is their Breakhorn. This is their version of an MP scale Slag or Slug, whichever one you want to call him. I'll call him Slag. And yeah, this is the third one they've released, and I'm really excited for this. He's my favorite Dinobot. They're highly stylized, but really excited for this, and they are a combiner. So here's the front of the box. Looks beautiful. Love the art. Looks really nice. Breakhorn says Transage TA-LYL003. Like I said, it's the third one they've released. On the side, you got Breakhorn himself in the alt mode. And then on the back, you got him in bot mode, alt mode, and he is the arm of the combiner. So that's pretty cool. A bunch of other stuff right there, product names and Breakhorn. And then on this side, you have the same thing, alt mode, or beast, mech form, beast form, and arm combination. So very cool. And there is the front. It just says Transage on the top and the bottom as well. So as always, hit me with some likes, shares, prayers, and care bears. Hit that sub button for me if you don't mind. It really helps out the channel. Got this at Show Z as always. At the top, hit Deluxe32. Go order some Transformers and follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. Everything's in the description. So let's get right to it and let's talk about some Cang-Toys and Breakhorn, or their MP scale Slag. All right, let's go. Real quick, I want to show you how they come packaged, because man, they do a great job of how they package their Transformers. Here's the instructions, all this stuff. We'll see that in a little bit. So you just take this off, and first thing you get the bot, and you get the weapons, some of the swords, and then there's two layers to it. You lift it up, and there is another layer of weapons and stuff like that in the hand. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I just want to showcase that real quick, man, because that's really great packaging. All right, let's take a look at what he comes with. He comes with a lot of stuff. All right, so he comes with two cards first. One with the kind of like this big one with the 3D action, which is nice. I used to have basketball cards that did this. It's pretty cool. So you can see the bot mode, or I'm sorry, the alt mode and the bot mode. But it's cool. It says Breakhorn. Very nice. Then you get a nice little card. Beautiful. Once again, the same artwork's on the box. And it says Transage right there. And like I said, you get this bigger one. You could put this in a frame or something if you want to. That'd be pretty cool. That is very nice. Very awesome. And then you get instructions like always. These are pretty good. Nice big pictures. It's long because, he does transform into an arm and everything. But it has all the stuff that you need. And, nicely done. All right. So you get this kind of a, looks like a hand thing, but it's like, or a foot. It's a claw. You can tab it into his, side of his arm or anything like that. I'll show you that later. This does rotate, and it does bend as well. Beautiful, paint as always. You got the gold, you got the red, the gunmetal silver. Looks really good. You got some tampo stickers, just like always. This translucent, kind of milky, white kind of plastic. But once again, great on the paint as always. And like I said, he is one of the arms. So you get another hand, and it does transform into like a spider thing. I'll tell you that. I'll show you that in a little bit. But beautiful red paint. Once again, the gunmetal silver throughout. And you got the fingers. You got the, man, still he squeaks. Jeebus. But yeah, very nice. I'll show you that in a little bit. You get two swords, which are beautiful. My gosh, that translucent red, the tampo stickers, the gold, the gunmetal silver. Very nicely done. You get two of those right there, and they will combine and everything, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And you get 8 of these blades, which will act as the main on him, when he's in Dino mode. And these little things right here, I'll show you in a second. You can use it as an effect and everything, but gunmetal silver, translucent red. You get 8 of these, some tampo stickers as well. They're beautiful too. And like I said, you get these little plastic things that you could put on his back, and have like an effect where the blades are like shooting out of his back or something like that. And I'll show you that later on. But nicely articulated. You got hinges right there. You got a hinge right here and everything. Hinge right here, and you got a hinge up here and a swivel. It's on a ball peg. But you get 1, 2, 3. You get 4 of those. So that's cool. All right, I think that's all that comes with him. Awesome. Okay, real quick, I'm going to show you a couple things you can do with the hand spider thing. So here he is in hand mode, which, if you want to use and combine, basically you're going to use this like that. Now you have an option where you can use swoop hand. Unfortunately, I don't have my swoop out right now, but you can combine them. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take this, you're going to move this up here, a little Fans Toy squeak right there like that. Then you're going to spread out these right here. They're on kind of like a hinge with that. Move that back there. And if there's a couple ways you can do just a single spider mode, you can leave the thumb out right there if you want to, and use it like as a laser if you want to, or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Or you can move this out, or you can move this, and make sure that you have to use this as a locking mechanism. If you move it, like this, it will lock into place. And if you move it, like I said, then you can move it around up and down. Okay, or you can take, like swoop thumb, you can take this. If you want to, you can move it around like that, and then just do this. And you can have like a spider mode like that if you want to. Or you can, what do you want to do? If you want to do this, you move this out of the way, and you can spin this around if you want. Let's see. Like that. And you can leave it like that, or you can kind of flip that out right there. You have that option for spider mode. But like I said, with the swoop, with the one with swoop, you can combine them. So basically you would do this like that, and you open this up, and just like I'll show you the instructions, you can combine them. If you take swoop's hand and his hand, and you can combine them together, and they form a bigger spider thing. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have my swoop out, so I can't do that. So I like this. I just I like the with this, using it as a weapon like that. You can flip that over if you want. You can move that like that and everything. Like I said, you do have a couple options. Just have fun with it. It's your transformer. But if if you're not going to use it in combine mode, you can use this as a spider mode type of thing. Like I said, like that, and he will stand up. And there you go. That is what you can do with the hand. There's a couple options. Alrighty, so let's go over articulation and the sculpt and everything here in bot mode. So here he is. I think he looks very impressive, really brute, bruiser kind of guy, everything. Turn around. There is a lot of stuff going on the back. Nothing is tabbed in really. You got everything, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But there is a lot of stuff on there. So there you go. Once again, beautiful paint job. Love it. The gunmetal silver. You got Tampa stickers, the red, the gold. You got a little blue on the head crest, which is weird. No other blue on him. So that's pretty cool. That really stands out. But here's the head sculpt. Looks good. It is light piping, which there is a little red dot right here in the back. Not much light piping, so he definitely has dead eyes. I think they should just paint those eyes and call it a day, because really you just can't see the light piping very well. But got gold paint, red right there. As far as articulation, you can look down quite a bit. You look up quite a bit too. The horn does move as well. Very nice. You can swivel all the way around. Now you got to manipulate around there. There's a little piece back there, but you can go all the way around, and you get a little attitude as well. So that's pretty good. I like that. So moving on to the 80s one, working shoulder pads. All right, so there's several hinges and stuff, and it's on a ball peg too as well. So these right here, so there's a hinge right here at the base, and there's another hinge right here, and so you can move them out if you want to. So you can move it up and down, back and forth like that, and there's another hinge, and they can go all the way out like that. These are on hinge. There's one piece right here and another piece right here. They're on both, all of them are hinges right there. This little piece right here, and can move as well, move back and forth and all that stuff. And that's mainly for transformation. This will go on the back of him, everything, but they can move out of the way. So you can move these out of the way. You can have them up. You can have them, collapse down to his arm. So you do have, a couple options doing that as well. And it does swivel too. It's on a ball peg. So you can move them up like that. You can move them back, all that good stuff. All right, so we'll try to move these out of the way. You do have ratchets, nice ratchets. You get more than 90 degrees right there. See, that is a problem right there. That's on a ball peg right here. So, and the ratchets are really strong. You just pop that back on there, because you will have to move these for transformation and everything. So they will move around like that, but they do pop off easy. So keep in mind with that. These also are on ball pegs, these little cankle things right here. They were actually off and just in the box whenever I opened them up. So just beware of that. So that might be a problem, everything. You do have ratchets going. You can go all the way around, just move it around. You have to manipulate around the shoulder pad. So you will get that. That's nice. You do have die cast, throughout. It's nice, got a nice weight to it. You do got a nice elbow bend right there. That is really good. Once again, the nice temple stickers. You do have a bicep swivel, which is good. All right, this will the dino pole right here will move. It's on a ball peg hinge kind of thing, so you can move that around. The fingers, you do have a rotation, and you got the movement right there as well. Thumb is on a ball peg. It will move. There's a bend at the base and at the middle of the knuckle, so you get 2 points of articulation right there. The fingers are on a little ball peg. You get base and a middle and everything, so you get 2 points of articulation right there. So very nicely done with the hands. And there's a little tab right there. That's where you're going to put the weapons and everything. All right, moving on down to the waist. Once again, beautiful. All this red, the gold, the temple stickers looks really good. All right, so you do get a waist rotation, but like I said, you're going to have to move stuff out of the way. All this backpack right here, you got this down here. That's all separate. It's a separate piece and everything. So you can get all the way around. Like I said, you have to manipulate everything just to get that, but you do get all the way around and everything. You do have a little bit of ad crunch, not much. I wouldn't even call it really, a really big ad crunch, but you get right there, you get one click. It's hard to get that one click back, so anything. So just be wary of that. But you do have a little bit of ad crunch, not much. I don't think with Dinobots, being big bruisers and everything, I really don't care. I don't think they need to be articulated, to the max and everything. But there you go. Okay, then you got these side skirts. They're on ball pegs, so you can move them up and down, and they're on a little hinge system too as well. So that right here, they'll move out, and they'll move out of your way. Like I said, if you want to get everything. So he does the Van Damme. He got wretched, everything, so he'll do the Van Damme all day, every day. Move these little pads up here like that, and little ratchets. Weird ratchets. I don't know. They're not, kind of soft ratchets, I guess. And you'll get up to about right there. You can move that around and you can get a little more. So just like I said, you're going to run into stuff. And same thing for back here. You can move this out. There's on a hinge. You can start moving that back too as well. So you get a little bit of a backwards movement. You do have a thigh swivel. It's ratcheted. That's nice. Less than 90 degrees for the elbow or knee bend. Like I said, with Dinobots, I think they're so big and bruised, beefy and everything, because he is really beefy, that some of the articulation is not going to be perfect and everything out there. So that's that. So you got the knee bend. Once again, all that nice paint and everything. All right, with the foot, you got toe tilt back, toe tilt up. You got this movement right here, which is toe tilt. Then the heel spur will move as well. You do have a nice rocker. All of it will go with the rocker, but this does swivel, but you do have a rocker movement right there. And you do have a swivel too on the foot, so tons. And if you want to, this is mainly for dyno mode, but you can spread these out if you want, do what you want with your transformer. So you got that. So that is nicely done with the foot articulation. And real quick with the back, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, this is a separate piece up here, and then down here, like I said, nothing tabs in. It just basically sits on each other. So right here, so you got this movement right here. You got the swivel, everything, and with that, like I said, just nothing tabs in. Really, just lays on each other. This right here, okay. So you got a swivel right here, up and down. There's movement on these things right here, and everything. So if you want to have them, you can turn them around if you want and have them however you want to. These are going to hold the little blades to make it look like he has swords on his back. These are on little hinges, so you got to move these out of the way. Just stuff gets in the way. These horns move out of the way, so you can got the in and out. You do have a swivel too as well. They can go down if you want to display it like that. That's all you want. These on a hinge right here. These are on a hinge as well, so you can have them flared out however you want to. And I'll show you all that stuff in a second with the accessories and everything. So there you go. That is all the basics of you need to know for articulation. Alrighty, so we're going to go over accessories now. So like I said, he gets 8 of these, and you can use them as daggers. You can hold that, and what you're going to do is you're going to tab it into the hand, everything, and it will look like that. Like I said, there's just a little tab and a little slot on there. You just tab it in like Masterpiece normally does, and you'll have a dagger like that. And you can put two in, one in each hand, and then you can take it and you can flip this in right here, and all these right here. So you're going to put one in here. It's on like a little sliding mechanism. There's a little sliding thing right there, and there's one right here. There's 3 on this side. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to slide it in there. I think it's going to be like this, like that. It's going to slide in, and like I said, you can move them up and everything like that, and that's how you're going to look, and I'll show you real quick. All right, so here they are all together. Everything like I said, it's going to tab in right here. That's going to tab in for the alt mode as well. In the back, I'll show you. And there's several options you can do. You can untab it and everything. You can have them all spread out like that. Like I said, there is a hinge swivel, so you can move these down if you want. You can spread these out however you want. They're on a little hinge right there. Same with this, like that. If you want to move that down, there is a little back and forth as well. But there's a swivel. If you want to bring them down, you can do that as well. So you have several options to how you want to display them. If you want to use the little daggers and everything, I think it looks pretty cool with the translucent red and everything. That's pretty nice. So that's what you can do with those. And you also have these, like I showed you earlier. So there's 2 small or shorter pieces, which are these right here. These will go on the top ones, and you got 2 longer ones that go on the bottom ones. So there's 4 of them. Basically the same thing. You got this little slider part right here, and we'll just slide it in right here like that. And like I said, you have a bend right there. And same thing with this. You just got a slider part right here, and you just slide it in. Let's see. I think it goes in the other way. Let go. There we go. Well, maybe it does. Maybe it goes that way. Okay, so you can do that. Like I said, you do have moments or movement right there. We'll put another one in. I'm not going to put them all in, but you get the gist of it. And you can have this like effect, which looks really freaking awesome. I can't wait to take some pictures. And you can, like this, they're coming at you or something like that. So that is pretty cool. So you have, like I said, you have 4 of them. You can put one up here. You can put them wherever you want to, and just have fun with it. And it kind of basically looks like they're floating. And that's pretty neat. I like that. So there you go. That's that option. All right, so the last option is going to be the swords and your little claw thing right here. And there's a couple things you can do, which is awesome. So what you're just basically going to do, you can hold that as a sword, and you have a slot right there. Or you can also bend this right here, and it acts as a gun too. So you got a little barrel at the end right there, and you can use it as a gun. So there's the options for that. And real quick, there's both options. Like I said, you can hold it as a sword, just tab it in, and then same thing with the gun. There you go. And you can take the claw right here, the slot right there. You're just going to tab this in. You may have to move the shoulder pad out of the way. But you just tab that in right there. You have that option. Or you have this option too, which is pretty cool. So you just make them like they're guns, tab them into the slots right there, and then you're going to just tab it in like that, right there, and you have this kind of weapon. So that's pretty cool. You can also take the blades. If you don't want the longer ones, you can take the smaller ones and do the same thing, and it will just tab in just right, and you have that option. Pretty cool. And the last thing you can do with the swords, I'll show you real quickly. You can combine them like this, and basically just going to slide in together like this, and you have a long and strong, going to get your friction on kind of sword right there. And there he is wielding these double swords and everything. Like I say, you just plug it in like you do the sword, and there you go. You can hold it, and there you go. There's all the things you can do with all the accessories. You can make up your own, have fun with it, but that's pretty cool. You have so many options. All right, so there's MP44 Optimus Prime. You got X-Transbots Bulkhead. You got DX9 Sideswipe. You got Takara Masterpiece Sideswipe. You got Tits McGee Wreck-Gar, and that's some scale. And Crapagonics, Crappy Tool Paper, AAA Battery, Carmix, K-Bears, Kicker and Squeaks. More scale. All right, back transformation. I'm going to tell you that was a pain in the taint. I had to even take it off to line up everything. So I want to tell you the main points where it has to be everything, because it's just one of those type of transformation. If you tab something on one side, the other side is going to mess up and everything. I had to take it off camera because it would just take forever. So make sure this is tabbed in right here at the tail. This thing, these just slit right there, and then you get that little piece right there, kind of, fills in that space right there. These are tabbed into this right here. These are tabbed into this right up here, and these two are tabbed into right there. And on the same side, same thing for that side. And underneath, make sure that this is tabbed in still, and then these, see, that one came untabbed. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, that's not going to matter, but make sure those are tabbed in as well. So like I said, just a lot of tabbing, and just have to line up everything. Once you try to tab one side, the other side was just messing up, and I just got fed up with it. So sorry, I had to take it off camera, but that is what you have to look for. Just like I said, make sure that's tabbed in. These tabs are all tabbed in and everything, so it makes it secure. But here he is. It's great. It looks good. Like I said, it's just not a fun transformation. Just like the other ones, they're just a lot of, hard ratchets and everything. But it does look good. Now I transformed it without the, blades or swords on there. You can transform it with it on there. I took them off, how you feel comfortable. But that did eventually put them on. But beautiful head sculpt, gold paint. You got the nice translucent red for the eyes. Kind of dead. Kind of wish they would have painted on just like the face. Head sculpt, you can open up the mouth, which is good. And like I said, you got the blades, and you can, move these any way you want to, however you want. You can spread them out and all that stuff. That's good. These horns do move up and down. That's good. Head movement, you do got down, swivel. So you got lots of good head movement there, back and forth. So very good head movement right there. Once again, beautiful paint job as always with the temple stickers and everything. You can go, with this, you can go out, back and forward. You can go out a little bit like that. You got a bend at the knee, swivel right there. This is the hand movement. So just basically swivel up and down and everything. Nice rocker. Do it like that. Same in the back. You can go out like that. Can't really go out very much, but you can do this right here. You got a knee bend right there. That counts as a swivel, I guess. And same thing with the back legs, with the feet. You can do rocker, back and forth, and swivel, all that good stuff. With the tail, it's on a ball peg. You can go up and down, swivel, bend right there. So you get a little bit of movement for the tail, which I love the translucent red right there. The gold paint looks good and everything. So very good. Love the details and sculpt work and everything. As far as weapon wise, you can take this right here, make it like this. You can take this, you're gonna, do a 180, then fold it in like that, and then just tab it in right here. Let me see if I can move these out of the way. And just tab in right there. And there you go. Now so you can move these just however you want to. And there you go. That is him all armed up, and that is Slag in his alt mode. And there is Alternator's Hot Rod. So this guy is a big fella. It's huge. That's what she said. Giggity. There is Magic Square Brawl. And here is Famous Toys Jazz. So there's some scale for you. All right, finally got this damn thing to get together. My God, that was not fun at all, man. I don't know if I'm going to even combine it when I get all of them, man. Golly. All right, so here he is. Like I said, just make sure you push these legs up as far as you can up to this, because you got to give enough room for you to get that little sliding part in. You'll see there's a little sliding part in there. You just, put that together. Articulation, elbow bend, all that good stuff. Make sure you pull this out for to combine it and everything. Yeah, I'm done. This thing is just a pain in the taint, man. But it looks nice, it looks pretty cool. It's going to be a big boy. It's going to be hefty. It's going to be thick and all that stuff. And yeah, so there you go. There is the arm. And there's Fans Toys Jazz for some scale. Well, hey there, everybody. If you made it this far, as always, I freaking appreciate that. All right, final thoughts on Cang-Toys. This is their Breakhorn. I think that's what they called him. This is the MP scale Slag or Slug from the Dinobots, whichever one you call him. I'll call him Slag. Man, just get the the bad things out of the way. The transformation is terrible. I hated it. It is not fun at all. When you tab, going from bot mode to alt mode, you have to tab in the tail, and if you tab in one side, the other side untabs, so you have to make everything line up perfectly. It was just really, and doing it in front of a camera is not fun at all. But yeah, just the transformation, and then going to arm mode, which is even worse. Trying to line up everything. But yeah, it's just not a fun transformation at all. But other than that, I love it. He looks fantastic. I love the way he looks. I love the nice blades and everything. It looks really good. Love the weapons. I love all the options with the sword, and everything. You got the Wolverine thing, and I love these effects. They are freaking awesome. If you have room to display him like that, I like how they're just, like flying at you and everything. That is pretty cool. That's really a great effect. So I like that. Like I said, love the options, and you got the spider hand, which is really cool. That's very nice. Paint-wise is beautiful. I mean, it's got beautiful paint with the red, the gunmetal silver, gold. Looks really good. Materials feel good as well. Got some die cast on there, so it's got a nice weight to it. Be mindful of stuff popping off, like these little shoulder pads right here, and these will pop off too. They're like on a little nub thing. They popped off a lot. The ankle things popped off a couple times too as well. So just be aware of that. Not a big deal, but it does get kind of annoying after a while. Articulation, it's fine. Like I said during the review, I don't really need my Dinobots to be like ninjas and stuff. He does what he needs to do. They're beefy, they're bruiser type kind of Autobots and everything. So it's the articulation is just fine for it. I like it, so very nice. Other than that, yeah, it just looks good in both alt mode. It looks good in all three modes. I think combined mode is going to be, really beefy and just, nice. I'm not going to use it for combined mode because I don't think the Dinobots should combine. But it's going to be a big guy, and it's going to be a nice one probably. But yeah, other than that, it's really great. Man, just the transformation really sucked. But man, I like the way it looks. He has a presence. All three of them do. And I love all the options you can do with the weapons. So, hope you like my review. Hit me up on likes, shares, prayers, and Care Bears. Hit that sub button for me if you don't mind. Hit me up some comments. Tell me what thought of the review. Sorry about the transformation. I know it probably sucked. I tried my best, but it's just not a fun transformation at all. Follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. Everything's in the description. I did get this at Show Z as usual. So go to Show Z and buy some Transformers. At the top, hit Deluxe 32. That really helps out the channel. And yeah, man, that was not fun at all. Man, my fingers hurt. So I guess I'll see you in the next Transformer review. And as always, be good to yourself. Man, hell freaking Transformers and hell freaking Cang-Toys and the Dinobots. My gosh, I would love for them to do Abominus. I think they could do a really good Abominus. So hopefully we'll do that. But I don't know, man. They got four scales for this guy. So I don't know how long it's going to take to get something new from them. So we will see. But man, love all the options with the weapons. And it looks so good. My gosh, he's so beefy. Good night, folks.